My goal when I started this YouTube channel was to become a speaker, to go on stages around the world and inspire at least one person in the audience. The idea was basically, hey, listen, you have something that can spark people's imaginations. You have something, a gift perhaps, that makes people think a little bit differently about their lives. And you should use this gift to do the best possible that you can. And this is augmenting over time. So as I grow in my ability to speak, as I improve in my capacity to hold attention, hopefully, I realize that being a speaker does not necessarily mean that I need to be in front of an audience. It does not necessarily mean that I need to pursue opportunities, particularly around the world, that will take me away from my immediate livelihood, the things that keep me going in my career and my wealth. The pursuit of being a speaker really comes down to understanding what I'm trying to communicate. And that essentially is an exercise in increasing my skill of communication. So I love listening to Dr. Jordan Peterson talk about basically anything. Although most of the time I listen to him talk about things in snippets because he tends to drag on. However, in the chaos, in the continuity of what he's saying, there is tremendous value. And that is why snippets of it are so incredibly powerful for thousands and thousands of people. He gives us advice about communication. He says, listen, you want to know what you want to say, you must write it down. You want to know how you think, or how you want to think, you must read it. And it's really as simple as that. The basics of speaking come down to reading and writing. If we do not understand language, if we do not understand the language at least that we intend to speak in, to a deeper degree than we did 5 years ago, oftentimes we're not going to be particularly good at conveying a point. Because it's a little bit of an art form, isn't it? The pauses matter. The diction, the speed at which we talk matters. Everything is an art form. Vin, on Ask Vin on Instagram, if you ever have a chance, I would highly suggest checking out any of his videos if you intend to improve your ability to communicate with people. The reason is because those little tidbits may very well tap a part of your communication that needs to improve. So my goal is to improve constantly as a speaker so that one day my words may shake the very ground, hopefully, that people stand on. Not as a way to destroy it or disrupt their lives, but as a way, hopefully, to inspire them. And hopefully this inspires you. So I have made 240 something videos so far. I intend to make thousands over the course of my lifetime. Currently I'm making 2 a day. And the idea is not necessarily to have something incredibly valuable to say every day. I am not so cocky to believe that I can come up with ideas in such a magnificent manner that will spark everyone's imaginations and give you an epiphany every time you listen to me talk. However, I do intend that every time I make a video, that I am slightly better at trying to convey a point, and slightly better at holding your attention. Thus I practice. Thus I listen, I read, and I write. And I would strongly advise that if you're trying to do anything in your life, if you're trying to improve anything in your life, the first step is actually moving towards that goal, building up the habit to get a little bit closer to that reality that you see in yourself. Because at the end of the day, we might not understand exactly why we're doing something. We might not know the inner desires that come from this thing. It's very difficult to understand every little complexity in the human being, let alone the complexity in our own environments that created this philosophy. But it is easy to know what we want to do with our time. It is quite easy, contrary to popular belief, to create the habits and the systems to actually do those things. And so I say to you that if you go back and watch my first video, chances are I've improved drastically as a speaker. And that is because I've spent a drastic amount of time doing it. Not nitpicking, not necessarily reading up specifically on how to communicate or how to give speeches or how to walk, how to talk, whatever it is, but really just a practice of doing it. Something that anyone can do in life, genuinely. And something that's the basis of a video that I made a little bit earlier, what I consider to be success. I said to myself, I want to speak, and I spoke, thus I am successful. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of inspiration in your life, and a little bit of insight onto the madness that is Tarabify. Obviously this is the very tip of the iceberg. This is merely a habit. The why, the deeper vision, I have videos on that too. But that, to me, becomes important only after we can convince ourselves that we can do what we set our minds to doing. Getting to the point where we can say we were successful, or at least are now. So speaking, last little things I'll say. What are the benefits of orators in society? Why did I choose to spend so much time doing this thing? Well, perhaps it's a selfish desire to have my philosophies inflict change in those observing me talking or observing my life. But really, I am inspired by people who can very elegantly put together their words and convey a point that very few can convey in a way that will actually touch people, in a way that will actually make people feel what you're trying to say. Tony Robbins is a phenomenal speaker. And the reason is because he has practiced it for many, many years. His mentor is a phenomenal speaker, Jim Rohn, because he practiced it for many, many years. Jordan Peterson is a phenomenal speaker. Simon Sinek is a phenomenal speaker. Vin is a phenomenal speaker. All of these people have things in common. They are, outside of speaking, very deliberate people, at least in terms of big things that they want to do in life. They're consistent. Thus, they have the self-worth to stand in front of an audience and try, at least, to convey a point. But on top of that, I believe that each of these people has experienced life in a tremendous way. Experienced life to the point where they love it enough to want to express some of its truths to people that perhaps are in the process of loving it more. So as I walk around in my basement, I don't know where I'm headed. I have an idea. I have some goals in place. But I believe after 200 videos, 200 something videos, I'm a little bit more successful in being a speaker. If you have some time, check out this video. This talks about how to convey a point, an argument in life, how to see logical fallacies in perhaps other people's arguments, and what to do about it. Actualize your potential catalyst. This world needs you. Take care.